Hey everyone. So one of the design stylistic changes that BMW made going from the F chassis cars to the G chassis cars was that no matter what body color paint you got, they all have a common lower rocker panel sill, usually in a darker color like the gray we see here on the i4. Some of the other ones have like a black like the 2 Series. And well, I have to say I'm not a huge fan of that, especially on lighter paint cars, because it makes the whole bottom of the car look like it's that much taller. Now on darker colors like this one here, it kind of blends in with the overall shape, so you don't notice that. But ultimately I thought it didn't look as good, and I wasn't really sure why they had done it. But it turns out there's actually a very practical reason for this, having that same common color piece across all of the paint colors. And it's not a benefit I really realized until a certain family member of ours accidentally refinished our lower sill on a parking block. Now, luckily that part is not that expensive to replace because of the economy of scale of having it common across whatever body paint you get. But anyhow, let's jump into it. I'm going to show you how to replace your lower rocker panel sill. So first off, I've jacked up the side of the car using just one of the jack points because I don't really need to use both. You can lift up the entire side of the car with just one of them. But as you can see here, I also have my AGA Tools jack rod, this handy little device here connecting the lift pad to the axle, and this turns your jack into a jack stand. So you just lift your car with the jack, pop this guy in there, and then lower your jack till the cross pins on this catch, and then you're fully supported, not using the hydraulics on the jack to maintain the load. And I don't know if you can see the sticker here, but this is the old model rated to 2 tons. The current model is rated to 3.5, so plenty of strength there. And this is one of my favorite tools now. Starting at the front wheel well, we have 3 10mm screws to undo so that we can peel the wheel well liner back. Next, looking underneath the car, you can see we have a couple more of those 10mm screws that we're going to have to unfasten. And then all along the length of this guy running towards the rear of the car, we have all of these expanding rivets. So we'll need a little pry tool to pull the stem out, and then another one to get under the flange and remove those rivets. And at the rear, one of these 10mm happens to be a plastic nut instead of a screw. Now we're going to work on pulling the side trim piece off of the car, but if we look up here in this gap that we can now pull over here, you'll notice we have these little clips up here, so that's something we're going to have to kind of yank away from the body with a little bit of force in order to get those to dislodge. And actually for this first one, you can actually get a tool in there to go in there and pry that apart. And then you can also try and use a tool from the back side to help support for the inner clip. So there's 2 of those clips here. Now that we've got this released, we can take our trim or pry tool and just slowly work out this piece all along the body. And wow, that actually came out pretty easily. So I'll just work this out over here too in the rear. Over at the front of the trim piece, if you have the BMW light carpet, which is that kind of angel wing projection on the ground, funny enough, one of my favorite gimmicky things that BMW has, disconnect that connector. And now we have our whole side trim piece removed. Now interestingly, one of these little expanding rivet pieces fell out when I pulled the trim off. And this isn't actually attached to that lower sill trim, so it shouldn't have come off. But as you can clearly see, it comes right over here. It secures this trim piece to the body, and this one, well, fell out of this hole here. If one of these does come out, just pull the stud out on top and reinsert it. I don't think these should be coming out though. This probably popped out of its place when the lower sill was refinished on that parking curb. All right, so up top we have the old sill trim piece, and on the bottom we have the new one. And well, we can clearly see we need to transfer the body colored trim piece onto the lower sill for the new one. You can see this long ridge running across here that has all these little indices where this snaps into. So we'll just release all the clips here and plug that part into here. So something I thought was kind of neat about this new lower rocker panel piece is that it also comes with a brand new light carpet emitter module. So I don't have to transfer that from the old piece to the new one. I'll probably take the old one off just to take a look at it more. But this is an interesting design too, because if you look back here, let's see if I can move this a little bit. You can see this kind of screw stud that this is on. And what that is on the underside of this piece, you have this hex right here, and that's how you adjust the pattern or the picture on the ground for the light carpet. BMW has like a measurement saying, oh, you know, the light carpet should be this long, you know, at ride height, and that's how you would adjust that. So kind of an interesting little piece on here, yeah, you know, it means you can adjust this, you know, by sticking an Allen wrench underneath the car. Don't even have to lift the car up. So let's take a look at the back side of those clips that holds the body colored trim piece to the lower sill. And you know, you can see on these clips, they've got this little catch right here. So we just have to press it this way in order to release it, and then we can push this through the slot on the lower sill piece. There are also some clips on the top side that we can release. You know, just stick a pry tool in there to release that and pull it apart. Now we'll take the painted trim piece and put it onto the new lower sill by just lining it up and snapping it into place. Pretty simple. Now that we have those two lower assemblies together, let's stage it next to the car. On the front part of the painted trim piece, don't forget to put these two gray clips in. If you put this assembly on the car and you have to peel that back to put those in later, that's a lot more difficult. And then I will put this on the car, just kind of get the top part hooked into place a little bit. Put some of these clips along this main ridge in. But don't clip in the front yet if you have the light carpet, because we still need to connect that. So we'll make sure our light carpet is plugged in. Make sure these three fingers for the screws go behind the wheel well liner, not in front of it. Now we can secure those two gray clips on the upper part. Now align things on the underside. We're looking at the front here, and you can see the lower sill trim piece slides underneath this other cover. Obviously you can see how dirty it is. This is on the outside. And you know, there may be other places going along the body where we see something similar. Here's another area where the new lower sill needs to be on top of, or underneath, so not exposed. I'll get that positioned. And there's probably a couple more similar areas towards the rear. In the rear we have to do the same. You can see right here, this cover, which is underneath right now, really should be the one that's exposed. So I will do that. And at the very rear we also have these two fingers here. And since we're already back here, we'll start with that 10mm plastic nut that goes on this stud here. So we'll place that, then we'll go ahead and fasten it. All of these are just like, you know, hand tight fasteners. Next, the 10mm in front of the jack pad. The 10mm behind the front jack pad. And in front of the front jack pad. Don't forget the 3 10mm in the front wheel well as well. Then lastly, we have all of the expanding rivets all along the bottom of the side of the car that we need to fully insert and secure the studs. And there we go, that's our lower sill replacement. I hope this one doesn't get refinished anytime soon.